Hey team, it's China here, and we're going to start a new month this week. We've done a lot of studying, we've done a lot of botanicals, shading exercises, drawing exercises. So now I want us to work on the way that we measure. And in order for us to do that, I wanted to look at Charles Bargue. Now, he is one of the most amazing people to learn from. A lot of atelier schools will have a whole term or even a year dedicated to studying Bargue's method. So what we're going to do is obviously a very condensed method, but we're still going to look at some of the stuff that he drew and look at the principles that he teaches. So to start off this week, we're going to be looking at measuring, how to use a construct, and how to get something exactly the same size from the picture to your actual drawing. So grab your pencils and let's get started. For the first time in this yearly series, I'm actually drawing from a printout, which is a very nice treat, I must admit. Now, the first thing we want to do in this drawing is choose your ear. I'm choosing the top right-hand side, and I'm figuring out the orientation. This is what Charles Bargue calls a construct line, and that is a line of guidance that will help us to create our drawing. Now, the next part is all about measuring the distance from the construct line to the actual picture. Now, because the line is at an angle, we need to find a horizontal and a vertical point. So imagine you're plotting a point on a map. You're trying to find the latitude and the longitude. I think that's right. We can also go from our angled line, but it's a little bit more challenging. So go easy on yourself and just see what you can do. The next step is to see how long it is. So not only am I checking the angle, but I'm also measuring it with my pencil. A good way to measure is by using the very far bit of the pencil for the start of the line and then your thumb as a guide for where that line ends. So whether you're looking to measure a gap or the length of a line, you can use this exact method to help you. So what you're going to be doing for the first part of this drawing is checking where everything sits, and basically transferring it over from the picture to your drawing. So you get the measurement and you bring it across. Now you can also pretend that there's a box around your ear. So just like we have the grid method where you check vertically and horizontally, where it becomes difficult on the angular line, you might want to figure out where the point is from the ceiling or from the ground, and then measure out from the angular line to plot your points. Sounds a little bit complicated, but I think once you start, you'll be like, oh, yes, I know what she means now. And you're also figuring out a way that works for you. So long as you're checking where the points are, both along from the angular line, and then you're trying to find a second point of reference to plot it with, then that will be super helpful. Now, I definitely recommend you use two pencils, one to measure and one to just do a little dot. It feels really weird because I'm not left-handed. I don't have the best left hand. So you'll probably be like, oh, hold on, this feels really weird. And it should, because you're not drawing with it. All you're trying to do is get your second pencil in that little gap where your thumb is, a little dot, and it just helps you to make sure your measurements are right. So you don't have to measure every single line, but I would recommend to check a lot of the points. So if you want to draw a lot of it freehand, go to your reference picture, measure it, and then check it against yours. See if it's the exact same measurement as you move across. It's a really good exercise for learning accuracy. And at some point we will look at trying to make something bigger than its picture. But for now, all we're working on this week is trying to get the measurement of this ear perfect. Now the measuring's done, the hard part is over. All we need to do now is convert it into a slightly more realistic version of itself. So go around the drawing now, softening the edges, checking the reference picture to see where the lines vary a little bit, and then add just some block shading to make it come to life. From this point, when you're happy and you've made all the adjustments and amendments you need, I want you to go over the line looking at the ear below it. So the ear below is much more realistic. It has curved edges, not these angular sections that Bargue starts us off with. It's actually much rounder. So I want you to keep looking at the reference picture and going over your lines, otherwise known as contours, and try and make it nice and smooth. This is the transition that Bargue does. He starts off with very geometric, simple shapes, and then he builds into the realism after that, which is a really, really good approach for a lot of different drawings. So spend your time softening your edges, and then our final section will just be adding a little bit of shading in the shadows. So it's not going to look like a real ear. It's going to look like a very good cartoon ear, but it's very, very accurate. So well done. I hope you enjoyed that, because we're really getting into some fabulous drawing work now. And finally, I'm going to end this video on the artist support. And if you want to sponsor me on Patreon for £3 a month, you can get more access to more content and support a starving artist. Thanks, folks, and see you next time.